What's going on, guys? It's the Gamer Podcast with your boy Zachary.
Zachary and Avery.
Yeah, we're gonna play Minecraft and talk about the book Speak by Lori Hall Anderson. I already tried this before, but the audio was kind of glitchy.
So here we are, part 2. First of all, Speak is a phenomenal book. It's a book. It follows the main character Melinda as she goes through changes with herself and situations that happen to her. Care to explain, Avery?
Oh yes, of course. Melinda is sort of seen as an outcast, as at least that's what she sees herself as too. She did something over the summer, which I will not spoil. But she did something over the summer that made her sort of the outcast she is now. She had a friend named Rachel who's now with a different group, sitting with a different group, who even on the first date lipped to Melinda that she hates her. But not shortly after, there's a new student named Heather who tries to be her friend.
But as we find out later on, Heather is just using Melinda. Well, it didn't start like that at first. At first they were friends, but then Melinda got used by Heather. And overall, it shows that not everyone you meet, not everyone that tries to help you can be trusted. One point in the book I would like to mention is when later on she draws from an art raffle. Well, art raffle more like a thing she has to draw in art, and she draws a tree, and the tree is very symbolic. Care to explain, Avery?
God damn it, Weston. Yeah, the tree is kind of represents her growth as a person from being an outcast, and you can kind of see the growth in her and in the tree at the same time. For instance, like, she starts off with a dead tree, and all the trees that she would try to draw would end up dead and not alive or in any shape or form. But yeah, soon after, she would start trying to change. I think the biggest part in the book comes from whenever she does make a change in herself, and she actually sees it in her tree too. But it wasn't just like her drawing tree, but it happened in real life too. She had a tree in her front yard in which they're cutting off the dead parts to make them better, which is what she said she's going to try to do, was to cut off her dead parts to make her better. Actually, I think Zach could probably go into a little bit more detail than that.
Yeah, and cut off the dead parts she did. She really improved as a person. She grew like a tree does. She learned to conquer situations, which, in my opinion, can be used in the real world. That kind of talent, to just be able to move on and grow like a tree.
Yeah, so, like, every teen really would, like, probably in some sort of way try to relate to the book. May it be when she's an outcast, or may it be like her other friend, I forgot her name, I'm sorry. But she had another friend who eventually becomes her friend later in the storybook. Yeah, Ivy, that's her name.
And it just shows that even though Melinda did something that caused everyone to hate her, her real friends still showed that they cared about her. And I honestly believe that this novel can be a huge inspiration for people, don't you, Avery?
Yeah, anyone could really use it as, it's actually really inspirational, because she was seen, like I said, like, probably multiple times now, she was seen as an outcast at the beginning of the book, but as she tries to change, you can kind of see how she starts trying to fit in with the rest of the world, you know? Like, she'll change herself, her look, and she even, like, starts doing yard work around her house, which I know might not seem a lot for everyone, but in all respects of reality, that was a lot for, especially for everything that she's been through and everything that has happened with her in her life. Another thing I'd like to talk about was her and her parents' relationship. Um, Here, Zach, you want to start it off?
Basically, her parents and her weren't that close. She distanced herself from her parents, and her parents distanced themselves from her to the point where they wouldn't even talk in person that much. They used sticky notes to communicate. And later on in the book, you see that the parents are trying to connect with her, trying to show that they care, albeit they're not that good at it, but they still make the effort to try.
That's another thing, and another big thing that happened to Melinda was during her Christmas vacation. Her parents had actually noticed something that she's done, and that's all she really wanted was someone to notice and for someone to care.
Yeah, and it really just showed that her parents did care, and that that she could talk to people, that people listened.
They understood. Like, they had, in the book, they had seen her drawing, because Melinda actually liked to draw and be artsy, kind of like that. So then her parents, for her Christmas vacation, bought her a art kit and a notebook and a few markers. And Melinda, if you read the book, which I really recommend, she actually tears up during this time because all she wanted her entire life was for someone to notice her. I think a lot of teens could actually kind of relate to this book because it goes through the life of a freshman, actually. So a lot of kids that are new to high school could probably kind of relate and to Melinda and her story of being an outcast and not really finding her way in. Overall, it's really just a really good book.
And yeah, it's a wonderful story, has wonderful characters, really shows growth and development. But that's all we have time for. So, see you next time. Goodbye.